Hey, welcome again to Redacted Nuisance, that 10 to 15 minutes on Tinternet, which is recorded in one take, not listened back to, not edited, and put up maybe about a week or so later, um, without ever being listened to. So sometimes even what I say that I talked about and what I actually talked about might be slightly different. It all depends on my memory. So, hi. Two very quick things. I'm Dr. J, use they as a pronoun. Um, I am the hashtag queer nuisance who creates redacted nuisance. Why is it called redacted nuisance and not queer nuisance? Very, very simply, I'm parkouring my way around the entire way that algorithms work, where the word queer is seen as pejorative and not as a decent self-identification or a theory or anything like that. So therefore, it is blocked in a lot of places or shadow banned or not promoted. And what also, by labeling something queer, it means that somebody who is curious but is not out would struggle to download this. Somebody who is in a space where they may not be able to have the word queer on their feed can have the word redacted. And by having the word redacted, they can come and listen to a queer ponder about life, the universe, and whatever, and rant for 10 to 15 minutes. And they can feel, I don't know whether they would feel seen. I don't know if you feel seen by me ranting away. I don't know even if you agree with me or don't. Quite frankly, you can try and send me a message. I'm sure there's some ways you can get hold of me. But it's also like, would that change anything that I said? Probably not. Would I adapt what I said? Possibly. I would, of course, listen. Um, would it stop me? Oh, fuck no. Um, this is happening. This is happening. This is going on. So what I was going to talk about, uh, and it's kind of related to a couple of the last episodes, and it's about something I did just over 10 years ago. So about 10 years ago, I created this thing called the Queerest of the Queer, which was based on the Garbage song of the same name, and the notion was to do a festival that celebrated the queerness, the craziness, the vibrancy, the complexity of the scene that was in London, because a lot of the things at the time were very monocultural. There was Pride in London, which had a very commercial impact and would put some of the people who I programmed at Queerest of the Queer on, but would give them limited time or limited scope. There were other people who were around who were um, queer and putting stuff on and doing the underground, but they'd never be shown together. They'd never be put together. So I created something called Queerest of the Queer. And it was just an idea. And I woke up one morning and basically said, I think we shall go and do this. And literally, I got a lot of people to follow me with this clear idea of we're going to put on a festival. It's going to run for 12 hours. It's going to have a mixture of punk, of drag, of performance, of everything there. It's going to be a little bit DIY. It's going to be a little bit grungy, and it's going to showcase all of the things in London as well as a number of international artists. And I got people, so internationally, I got Dorian Wood, who's an amazing performer from they live in the US. They do have this brilliant voice. One of the beautifulest moments I can think of the festival is seeing them on stage turning to Josephine, who was providing drums for them, and going, Josephine, just take us to church. And Josephine just found a rhythm that was churchy, and then they sang a gospel-based song that was about queerness, that was about bodies, that was about experience. Oh my God, Dorian Wood's work is just mind-blowing, and definitely check them out. They were one of the international artists. I also had Latrice Royale. Latrice motherfucking Royale from Drag Race. One of the most amazing humans, and their husband is also one of the most amazing humans that I've ever seen. Their performance was brilliant. I only got to see parts of it because I was running the festival, and one of the parts of producing and running a festival is you often don't get to stand and watch the performances that you've booked because you are too busy running around up and down God only knows how many flights of stairs, just making sure that everything's working, that there's no problems, being on a mic, just trying to keep control of everything. But Latrice, and one of the most interesting conversations that we had, and I hope Latrice and Chris don't mind me revealing this, is we were in a taxi cab on the three of us on the way back from having a dinner together. They were heading back to where they were staying, and we were talking. And Christopher turned and said to me, "Okay, I've got one question which has been just, we can't figure it. It's a punk festival. It's DIY. It's drag. It's punk. It's DIY. Why Latrice?" And I turned to Latrice and them both and said, "Because what I saw coming off the stage when I saw you perform in the black cap, there was this wave of love and recognition that came off the stage towards the people. You could see us as who we were. You loved us for who we were. And that got reflected back to you, and you just reflected it back to us." And I said, that is what I wanted on my stage. I wanted that pure love and genuine care for every single person in the room. You saw everyone where they were at, who they were, what they aimed to be. You just saw us, and that love for who we are. And when it was reflected back, it was just the most gorgeous moment, and that's what I wanted to build. And they both turned and looked at me, and they were like, of all the programming, I think, and being a bit of a mind reader, I think what was going through their minds of all the programming decisions that have been made in the world, that is possibly the purest and also the most insane that we've heard. Because Latrice is polished drag queen. She does Vegas. She does shows. She did her one-woman show for us. She performed so much and just put so much into helping make the festival. And it was wonderful. And it was absolutely amazing. What else did we have? So we also had Johnny Wu and his band, which was brilliant. We had Bourgeois Maurice. And then we had the family, at the time they were called the Family Fierce. So it was me, Lolo Brow, Lily Snatchdragon, Scarlett O'Hara, Bourgeoisie, and there's somebody else, Maxie Moore. We had aerialists, so I ran into the aerialist who performed Danny Ash the other day, and they were like, that was my first big aerial show, and do you remember I got stuck? And I was like, oh yeah, I remember, because I was standing at the foot of that going, oh dear God, please don't die. I haven't done enough risk assessments for this. And they did this marvellous aerial show. There were two aerialists, I believe. Yes, because one of the Slits, now we had a Slits who was the super luchador wrestlers in training or something, which was a performance troupe made up of women and non-binary people who were doing Mexican style wrestling, who did these little shows, pop-up shows based on Mexican style wrestling. We had unicorns and wrestlers as the ushers, and that on the day we had Boy Box, Adam All and Apple Derriere running kind of the little VIP room. We had Bar Whatever running a little cabaret space. We had LGBT Underground running one of the most amazing spaces that was full of music, Afro-Caribbean, black music. They had a number of drill rappers. They had a number of rappers from different spaces. They had this amazing artist. They had all of these people. I just literally turned around and said, have the space, have it for the time. So we had this this notion, rather than as a producer trying to totally produce every single space, I said to various people, have the space and tell me what you need. What do you need in the space? Here's a list of what I can give you. Tell me what you need. They would come back with what they needed. We navigated a budget. I just said about this much was generally it. And they created spaces. They curated spaces. They brought in who they wanted. And that just the whole vibe of it was unbelievable. It was one of the most amazing things one of the most amazing achievements I think I can ever talk about doing. I woke up broker than broke. Financially, running a festival is not the thing to do if you wish to ever be considered financially stable and successful. There was just there was no way on earth that we were ambitious. We overbooked. We did so many things. There's so many things that I look back and go, oh my God, I did that wrong. And I was talking about it with two of my co-producers, me and Joe, on the weekend. And for everything else that I think about, I think of all of the things that I did. And it is still just there. And it's also been one of the most interesting... I think, I mean, my friend Dreamboat talks about it, and that it was so far ahead of its time that if it ran today it would be a wild success, but it was so far ahead of its time that it failed, but it failed monetarily, but it didn't fail for ambition, it didn't fail for the impact, it just was not something that financially could have happened. And I will rant about the Arts Council and all of that, and another thing. But what I wanted to say is, and that's the whole thing of this, I woke up with an idea and just went, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to follow that. Everyone tells us with anxiety to take that anxious thought and follow it to its logical or its illogical conclusion. This time I woke up, rather than with anxiety, with an idea and followed it to its logical conclusion. And it was one of the best things I've ever done.